Okay, I'm doing a drum solo apparently because I'm bored. We're at the burnt ranch, not ranch, farm here. Anyway, let's see. We were told by the spooky doll to go in the basement. Let's see what's going on here. Nope. Still some food on the shelf. Nice. There's a weird cow-shaped stain on the wall. Whisper peanut butter. Atop this sinister-looking altar sits a copper goblet filled with what appears to be blood. Well, this is a weird set of choices to have with no additional information provided. Children's down your spine as you touch the goblet. You got an item, goblet of blood. A goblet of blood from a cursed altar in a spooky secret basement room is probably safe and fine and good. Alright, so do we just bring this back to the doll? It's got a description, but it's not anything. Okay. Let's see. My tea. We can finish our tea party now. Don't give her the goblet. You don't think it's a good idea to pour blood into a clearly haunted doll's mouth. A little plume of smoke rises from Grace's right nostril. Give me my tea. This seems like a bad idea. Fine, have it. Jeez. Carefully pour the blood from the goblet into Grace's mouth. Ah. Grace leaps out of the toy box, laughing maniacally, and climbs the ranch house's ruined chimney. She turns towards you. See you soon. She leaps to the ground behind the house and scampers off to the northwest. That's probably fine. Oh boy. Alright, well, maybe we should try and find her to the northwest. Well, let's see. Keen eyes detect a secluded cave in the near distance. Exploring it would definitely be a good use of your time. Shaggy Dog Cave. Why not? That's... the randomness with which you discover places is something else. There's a plaque bolted to the cave wall here. Read it. A record of the events from the expedition to and into Shaggy Dog Cave, November 1887, as recorded by Jim Plackwright. I don't think that's a normal last name, but it is kind of funny. Having acquired through various and sundry means, a story which is interesting in its own right, but better saved for another time, a map purportedly leading to a large cache of jewels and ingots of precious metal, hidden by the infamous highwayman and train robber Black Coal Jr. in the years before the cows came home. I, Jim Plackwright, along with 3 compatriots, these being Nathaniel Wyman, Cyrus Howard, and Douglas Watts, set out to find Shaggy Dog Cave and the aforementioned treasure. Is this all gonna be a gag because a Shaggy Dog story is a term for a very long story that goes nowhere? Our equipment and provisions consisted of 1 cart and a horse to pull it, 4 additional horses to be ridden, 2 shovels, a spade and a mining pick, a large coil of rope, 1 large basket of eggs, as well as an assortment of other trail provisions, cookware, my own collection of blank plaques and engraving tools, 1 large and shaggy dog, and a butt fur. After traveling for 2.5 days to the south and east, as we arrived in a small town named Dirtwater, the largest settlement in the vicinity of Shaggy Dog Cave. Leaving the dog to watch the horses, the 4 of us entered the local saloon and each ordered a beer except Cy, who was satisfied with water. This is seeming like a Shaggy Dog story, perhaps. The barman provided our drinks as requested and then withdrew a small wooden box from underneath the bar, asking if we'd care to witness something real interesting. Considering that we still had a few hours left to travel, we politely declined and asked him if he knew the way to Shaggy Dog Cave. He replied that he had never been there personally, but gave us rough directions, which correlated nicely with the notes on our map. Upon leaving the saloon, we discovered to our dismay that some unknown villain has tampered with our wagon. Fortunately, the only supplies missing were a butt-fur and the entire basket of eggs, apart from one Doug had concealed within a pocket for safekeeping. We also discovered that the dog had absconded with one of the horses, forcing Nate and Cy, after drawing of lots, to share. After acquiring a barrel of fresh water for the trip as well as a replacement butt-fur, we headed out as well as a replacement butt-fur. We headed into the open desert. The sun shone down mercilessly upon us, though we took small solace in the fact that it would have been far more intolerable had we made this expedition during the summer months rather than November. In order to pass the time on the trip and resist becoming dazed from the heat and susceptible to desert mirages, we exchanged stories of our youth, which I will not be retelling here for reasons of length. Thank you for the succinctness of this story. However, I will... However, I will relate to you 3 odd occurrences that happened during our trek through the desert. The first was 2 or 3 hours out of dirt water when Nate noticed a glint of sunlight upon a metallic object partially buried in the sand. This was revealed to be a brass oil lamp of foreign design and manufacture, which fortuitously still contained a quantity of oil. Deciding this might come in handy, we stashed it in the wagon with our other tools. Our next encounter was with a nomadic goblin tribesman who we discovered spoke excellent English. It inquired as to our destination. We replied that we were looking for Shaggy Dog Cave, though we did not disclose the reason for our journey. The goblin confirmed that we were heading on the correct course and mentioned that he had only a short time earlier witnessed a large and shaggy dog riding on a horse in the same direction. We all agreed that this was an unusual sight indeed and continued on our way. Sometime later, we encountered a large adobe hut occupied by 2 identically seeming old men with wild hair and long white beards. They invited us to take shelter from the heat, which we gratefully accepted, and introduced themselves as hermits. This struck me as peculiar, given that there were 2 of them, but I felt it would be rude to question them on that point. One of the hermits confirmed that we were near Shaggy Dog Cave, and the other hermit confirmed that what his brother said was true. They also commented that they had seen a large and shaggy dog riding a horse in that direction. We all agreed this was an unusual sight indeed. The hermits refreshed our water supply in exchange for our butt-fur, and we continued on our way, excited to finally be nearing our goal. After 2 more hours, we finally arrived at Shaggy Dog Cave. Carefully keeping our excitement in check lest we become incautious, we unloaded our equipment and supplies from the wagon and took brief respite in the cool shade of the cave entrance. To celebrate our arrival, Doug unpocketed and shared the egg he had saved from our basket that had been stolen in dirt water. Once we were rested, we decided the time had come to explore the cave. Discovering that we had neglected to pack torches, lanterns, or any other light source with which to illuminate the cave, we declared that it was indeed fortuitous that Nate had discovered that antique oil lamp during our travels. He gave the brass a quick shine and then lit the wick, and we were relieved to discover that it lit easily and provided very adequate amount of light. As we headed into the cave, we were further encouraged by the fact that the floor was quite even and easy to traverse, and that there were no side passages which might cause us to become lost. Despite this, I resolved to hang a number of flags to mark our progress through the cave, and engrave them with the tale of our journey, such that others who discover the cave after us might be entertained and edified by our story. Soon we came to the end of the tunnel. While Nate, Cy, and Doug took turns with the excavation, I completed the last of the aforementioned plaques. It was a matter of perhaps an hour before Cy's shovel struck a wooden surface with a hollow noise, and we hauled a traditionally styled treasure chest out of the hole with great excitement. The chest was locked with an ancient rusting iron padlock, which we broke easily from a single swing of our pickaxe. We opened the lid slowly, and the flickering light of the antique oil lamp shone brilliantly upon jewels of every color and shining ingots of precious metals, just as promised by the legends of Black Coal Jr. Joyous at our triumph, we loaded the chest into our wagon and began the journey home. Thank you for reading, and may your own endeavors be equally successful. Signed, Jim Plackwright. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for that. It's a hole, a completely empty one. Well, that was fun. I wonder how many people, I mean, obviously this game already caters to a certain audience and not to another, but it does make me wonder how many people, I mean, most people aren't reading them out loud like I am, so it takes less time, but still, how many people, like, read one or two or even none and then just leave and or go to the end and don't understand or don't care. This just like goes over their head. It is funny though. The aristocrats. What? Heh, never mind. Okay, well, that was something. Is that really this whole thing? I wonder if there's a quest here at some other point, or if it's literally just the one gag. I'm not mad though. Okay. We'll wander off somewhere else when we come back. Maybe find the evil doll we released into the world.